Welcome to Experiencing the Winning Edge. Module 8 is entitled Prospecting Intelligently. For most sales professionals and business owners, prospecting or cold calling is perhaps one of the least liked responsibilities. Yet without regular prospecting, especially during the developmental phases of a business, that business will never achieve its full potential and may even become doomed. What is prospecting? Prospecting or cold calling is to sales what geology is to mining. Before deciding to mine, geologists survey vast terrains to determine the possible existence of valuable minerals such as gold, or silver, or uranium, or copper. Once the likely existence of valuable minerals is determined, limited drilling follows and tests are conducted. If the samples look good, further drilling and additional tests take place in order to evaluate the magnitude and value of the findings. If the findings turn out to be economically sound, mining follows. Prospecting is similar. By prospecting, we are really trying to find the gold of the business, new clients for our services and products. We start by identifying the terrain we want to explore by determining or developing the right prospecting lists that we will be using, the lists that are more likely to help us find the right type of clients for the target market we seek. We then proceed with some limited drilling, by first preparing 2 or 3 scripts that we will use when testing, when making a limited number of calls. As we make the calls, we keep track of our results. We determine which script worked best and how many calls it took to secure a meeting. We also determine how many meetings it took to make a sale. We then review our strategy and the results we have achieved before proceeding with additional calls, before proceeding with additional drilling. Once we have the prospecting formula that will yield the best results, we can then intensify our prospecting activities. We are ready to mine for the gold. Why prospecting is least liked. Prospecting or cold calling is perhaps the least liked sales activity because cold calls lead to a high level of rejection. The fact is that for every 20 or even more calls we make, we may secure 1 meeting. We may secure 1 yes. Why is that? First, nobody really likes to receive solicitation calls. We are all very busy and we view these calls as intrusive and as a waste of our time. After all, if we have a need for a product or a service, most of us feel that it is up to us to take the initiative to look for it. So our first reaction when someone is calling to introduce their products or services is to say no and to try to terminate the call as quickly as possible. Some of our prospects do this politely, but some of them can also be impatient and rude. Secondly, most people we contact during our prospecting activities are not ready to buy our products and services. They may not even realize that our products and services can really benefit them, and they are too busy or too preoccupied with other priorities in order to take the time to talk to us or meet us. For businesses, receiving solicitation calls can be even more problematic. The fact remains that if prospects take the time to respond to each person who calls them and who is trying to sell them something, they will not have enough time to get their job done. So calling, catching their attention, is of vital importance. Finally, there is a question of trust. The call is coming from someone, and perhaps an organization, that the prospect may not have heard of, and there is always some apprehension about dealing with someone we don't know. Nevertheless, cold calling does yield the desired results, and a thriving industry of call centers and telemarketing companies proves this beyond any doubt. So, as sales professionals and business owners, you need to learn to take in stride the fact that while making prospecting calls, you will be experiencing a high level of rejection. You must learn not to take that rejection personally, but rather accept it as one of the inevitabilities of that function. This is especially true since you are interrupting prospective clients and are being intrusive. But you need to remember at the same time that your intention is good. After all, the objective of prospecting or cold calling is to introduce potential clients to the benefits they can enjoy by using the products and services you offer. If you really offer quality products and services and have identified prospective clients who can truly benefit from them, you are actually doing these potential clients a favor, even though they may not realize it. Your attitude and the preparation you bring to prospecting are really the most important factors which will determine the level of success you will experience from your prospecting activities. Last year, I met a mutual fund sales representative who had been in the business for 10 months. I asked him how he marketed himself, and he told me that after completing the training program, he was given a list of affluent potential clients, prospects whose income was over $100,000, and he spent a good part of each day cold calling these potential clients. He managed to get a few meetings and a limited number of sales, but he was actually quite discouraged and was seriously thinking of changing careers when I met him. He had lost his enthusiasm when making the calls and had lost his expectancy of succeeding. Trying to sell without having that positive attitude and that positive expectancy of succeeding is virtually impossible, and that individual did indeed decide to change occupations a few weeks later. On the other hand, a print broker I've used to print some of my programs in the past and who had been in the business for more than 10 years has a thriving business which continues to partially be built on cold calling. While he now gets quite a bit of work through repeat business and referrals, he told me that he continues to still diligently make 5 cold calls a day to businesses he is interested to have as clients. That's how he continued to grow his business year after year. He had a very good attitude, and he approached prospecting in a very methodical and organized manner. When he began cold calling 10 years ago, his ratio of getting meetings was 1 out of 18 calls, and he didn't really like cold calling but was disciplined enough to go through the motion every day. He told me that 4 years ago he really took the time to review and to improve his approach to cold calling and change the scripts he used. He also made sure he displayed more enthusiasm and self-confidence when he called, and made an effort to change his own attitude from loathing cold calling to loving the challenge of cold calling and to fully expecting success. By doing that, he improved his ratios. He now gets 1 meeting out of every 8 cold calls, and he managed to increase his net revenue from new business by more than $150,000 a year in the middle of a recession. He also increased his staff from 1 to 2 graphic designers, as well as 2 production assistants. In 1985, I was living in Vancouver and decided to move to Toronto after having published my job search and retirement planning programs. I only knew a few people in Toronto and really had to rebuild my business from scratch. That meant a lot of cold calling and networking. In fact, I made one of the most important contacts in my entire career when I cold called the Vice President of Human Resources of Royal LePage. I spoke to him for a few minutes, and then I sent him a copy of my newly published job search program. This started a relationship with Royal LePage that lasted 15 years and which generated for me hundreds of thousands of dollars in professional fees. So cold calling does work if you have the right attitude. So what can you do to develop and maintain that positive attitude? You can begin your prospecting calls by calming yourself by breathing deeply a few times, and then you can repeat several times the following affirmations. I am grateful that I am liked by quite a few of the people I meet or contact, and also accept that I can't be liked by everyone. I am attracting the right prospects and can reach them right now. I will this with all my heart. I am expecting the best and can attract the results I want. I will this with all my heart.